Welcome back to Healthwise. With us, my special guest, Dr. Miller, a nephrologist in Opelousas. Doc, what would be the first thing that you would do if you were empowered and could just do it like?
Right, yeah, there's a lot of controversy about first steps, second steps, because they're interdependent and related in some way to each other. The first thing I could do is look at the gaps of where we're not helping people. The early intervention programs, whether it be in the Head Start programs, the pre-K programs, all of these programs where we can affect children early on in their life. And the most disadvantaged children are those most at risk or those who are receiving public assistance. So what you could do is target a population and that's the most at risk and say, okay, here's what we'd like to do. First, we would want to restrict the sale of food items, in my opinion, whether it be on the SNAP program or traditionally called the food stamp program, is to restrict it to healthy food options, what the WIC program does. And that way it helps people focus on healthy foods for their children. And that takes a lot of effort. It takes effort from the grocers, from the government, and from the clients to want to change patterns. The first thing I want to do is affect nutrition health, because that affects everything. So what could we do? And that's a multi-pronged approach. We'd first want to restrict the sales of subsistence to healthy food options, but also go back to what we used to teach in school. We used to teach people all about home economics. We used to teach people cuts of meat, how to take care of themselves, how to stretch a budget. We don't do that anymore. We throw children out.
Kids don't know anything about that.
They don't. We throw them out and children having children. So what happens is we're setting patterns that don't help for the future. So we'd want to address the nutrition assistance programs, the nutrition in the children, the summer school programs by having education when the parent and the child comes to the school for a summer school meal program. Hit them home the message right there. Teach them how good it is to eat eggs or healthy food options. So that's the first thing, nutrition element, which has to be a daily thing. You have to get them to feel good about themselves. The second part of that is get them off their feet. I mean, get them on their feet, get them off the chair, get them away from that television, and get activities. You alluded to it in a previous show that I remember, that and when you're in the tip-top shape of yourself, you feel good, you want to do things for yourself to make yourself healthy when you feel good. If you sit there all day long, that television sucks your soul, and you'll never have the self-esteem about feeling how good it feels to be healthy. So that's the two big things.
We didn't, and I know as a medic, and I've seen the change, I've seen the kids. We didn't have the obesity problem back in the day that we do have now. I mean, we didn't see kids with this obesity problem. I mean, myself included, when I was a kid, we got out, we rode bikes. We would ride bikes from sunrise to sunset, We would exercise, it wasn't nothing to walk from one end of town to another. We were happy to do that, And now you tell a kid something about walking to just a few blocks, they look at you like you're crazy. Man, that's what we have cars for.
and they don't understand exercise can be push-ups, sit-ups. You don't need expensive equipment.
Sure.
I can promise you, if you watch the old Rocky movies, as when he went to Russia and
hitting the beef, hitting the side of beef.
You can do any amount of exercise for your health for free. So if you take care of your nutrition and you take care of your exercise, then that will lend you for a lifetime. Your whole timeline of health will be less interrupted with visits to the hospital, with diabetic diseases, with kidney failure, with arthritis, with other problems. So attacking those two things. Now, how do we do that? I've said already, the assistance programs need to have more accountability. How we're educating children about nutrition, but also in the school systems, they're working more and more toward accountability toward the physical education programs, so we can address daily, throw a little mud on the fence every day and say, let's talk about you. Let's talk about, I'd like to see them give grades for themselves.
Sure.
Let's grade you on how you're doing, not just physical education, but learning about your body, learning how to take blood pressures. Children need to learn about their own bodies. Empower them with knowledge and get them excited about, look at my blood pressure. I learned today how to take my blood pressure. Hey, this is how it should be. And go home and tell your parents and your grandparents, what's your blood pressure? And challenge the family to be involved with the family game plan to health. If you don't teach your children behavioral patterns that are worthwhile of health, they will only learn the bad things. And so that way it gets everybody involved with learning. Now you mentioned something about you know, in our age group and children we were active, but also you remember the food assistance programs, those old ladies and those families, they bought things that stretched health. They didn't buy potato chips and colas, things that really kill. I cringe if my children ask me to buy unhealthy things, and I tell them, I can't prevent everything, but I tell them, you know, son, this is not good for you. It may hurt you by not giving it to you, but in the long run, I see every day people who have limbs, you do too, limbs who are amputated, or I can't see anymore because of preventable diseases. And that's the killer. If we're allowing children the tail to wag the dog, we're failing them. So I would definitely work on the nutrition and the exercise and work through the school systems, but also help the parents understand how to empower children with education and feeling good about being healthy. That takes a lot of time and effort, but once you get it going, it's rewarding.
It's rewarding. Okay, Doc, we'll talk about a little bit more about that and also a board that you're on and what steps y'all are taking on this board to make some changes as soon as we get back from this brief break for our sponsors.